Okay. What's your name?
My name is Hafiz Mohammed Noman. Noman is my first name. You can call me by my first name, and you can spell it as Numan.
Okay, thank you, Numan. And where are you from?
I'm from Faisal. I'm a local here.
Okay, may I see your proof of identification, please?
Yes, sure, definitely. I have that in my pocket.
Okay. That's fine, thank you. So, how is the weather outside, Numan?
So it's very hot today, and usually I commute by my bike. So when you are on a bike, you can feel the weather. It's really intense outside.
Okay, really? So let's talk about food and cooking. This is your first part. Okay. So, what sorts of food do you like eating most?
Well, it totally depends on the weather and the situation. Like when it's hot, I usually take some sort of light foods. I avoid taking the junk foods, and definitely we prefer, as we are from Pakistan and Punjab, we definitely prefer home cooked food. My mom is cooking for me most of the time, and I enjoy taking this type of foods. Well, when I'm with some friends of theirs are Korean, we definitely go out for a dine out, and we enjoy some sort of food restaurants. It's not
Okay.
an
So, who normally does the cooking in your home?
Well, as I told you, my mom is cooking for me and my family here at home. We have a maid. She is helping my mom out in the kitchen, and my mom is a very nice cook. I have really enjoyed her taste from the childhood.
Okay, so do you watch cookery programs on TV?
In our society, the women are most of the time managing the kitchen. The men here in our society are not involved in the kitchen or the cooking material, but for some time I can watch the cooking programs or cookery programs on the television, but it's not my taste.
In general, do you prefer eating out or eating at home?
Well, if I'm alone and it's a normal day, I prefer eating at home. But if I have some friends here and there is some celebration or some sort of occasion we are celebrating, we definitely go out for dining.
Okay. So, um, Mr. Naman, let's talk about the part one, and I do want to say something about your performance here. Yes, your answers were really good, and you answered in a proper way, but your sound was too fast. You were chipping the sound. The sound was very faster. You were. It seems to me that you were really trying to speak faster. So, do you speak at the same tempo in Urdu, or do you have this tempo in English? So, tell me.
So it's only in English, maybe because sometimes I'm nervous and trying to give more information in short time.
Yes. So don't reduce the time. Try to elaborate the words and sentences in a proper way. Fluency doesn't mean to speak fast. Fluency means that when you are speaking, you are transferring your ideas in the brains of the listener in such a way that there is no pause, and you are feeling the same word at the same time, and transferring of data information is proper. There's no gap. So this means fluency. So I would like to say that the words were not very clear. Try to speak the clear word. Every word should be crystal clear, and all words should be attached with each other, but respect every word. This is the first lesson for you. Now let me talk about the grammatical structures. So grammatical structures, as you know, there are the parameters I have told you. The number one parameter I have discussed, that was the pronunciation, or the you were pronouncing the word, but it was not very much understandable. Okay, now grammatical research or grammatical range. You were speaking very simple sentences. All were in simple present, and you didn't use any complex structure in your speaking. If you will speak simple English, you will get simple bands, unfortunately. In order to get a good score, you have to show some talent. Okay, got it? You have to show some amalgamations of simple, complex, compound, and compound, complex structures. It is really required there. Okay, now the third point is lexical resources. In lexical resources, you have used some good words, and it was number one was totally depend, and the use of totally depend was really good. You performed very nicely, and all the answer was very logical, and you were using in a good way. This next word was definitely. Yes, you used very nicely, but you repeated definitely 3 times. So try to avoid repetition. Keep in mind, repetition kills. Then you went in the very first topic, you went off topic actually. The question was something else and you were answering on a side way. For example, the question was, what sorts of food do you like eating most? And instead of explaining the sorts of food, you started telling have get together, we go outside and we eat food over there, that sort of food. So it was not a question. If you will go astray from the question, your marks will go astray. So what to do? Focus the topic and elaborate the topic.
So that means I have to say that I like Indian cuisines.
Yes, Indian cuisines, but it was at the end. If you think that what sorts of food do you like eating most, first of all, you have to use the R method. You have to tell the sort of food. For example, the sort of food I like to eat most is the fast food because of its taste. Most of the restaurants in my city are the fast food restaurants, and they have succulent pizzas, they have pastas, and burgers of the latest kind. They also have innovative taste. I love jalapenos burgers a lot. In this way, you have just focused on the sort of food, and then you are elaborating, explaining, glorifying that idea. It is really required. Got it?
Right.
So over here, you can say that you need to work on it. Next, the lexical resources. The structures were nice, and definitely you're repeated. Now what? Let's come and ask about the first thing, and the first thing first was actually, which I have written over here, that your fluency was good. You are quite fluent, and I would like to say in fluency you can get 7, but try to reduce the speed
Yes.
and enhance the elaboration power. In that way, you will get band 8 or 8.5. Otherwise, getting of the band 8 and 8.5 will be an uphill task for all the people listening or sitting before me or sitting behind the screens. Okay, now let's discuss with the other students of the same topic. What does he say about it? What is your name?
My name is Zafar, son of Zafar Iqbal Khan. Khan is our family name. We can spell it Khan.
Okay, that's great. Where are you from?
I'm basically from a village which is located near to Nankana side, but due to my higher education, I moved to Faisalabad, which is third largest city of Pakistan and also known as Manchester of Pakistan.
Okay, fine. May I see your proof of identification, please?
Are you sure?
Just have an here. No problem.
Okay.
That's fine, thank you. Let's talk about food and cooking.
Okay.
What sorts of food do you like eating most?
I like typically Pakistani food, like as biryani, which is very favorite for me, and I also like which a lot of food which is made by my mom at home, like as korma, biryani, and especially almond kheer, which is very famous in our area. Therefore, I like typical Pakistani food.
Is that tasty?
Yes, definitely. Last Friday night, my mom made it for us, and that was very delicious and yummy, and also very in this hot weather, that was very cool and refreshing for us.
Okay. Who normally does the cooking in your home and why?
In my home, my mom is very health conscious for us, and she cooked a lot of food about our to maintain our health, to keep us healthy. Therefore, it's totally depend in my house. It's duty for my mom and my wife, and I don't want to go in kitchen. Therefore, I
Okay. So, do you watch cookery programs on TV and why?
yes, it was about half month ago when I was start watching cookery program on TV. I watched a program Cooking with Mary, which was telecasting on TLC television program, and that was she was cooking about the global foods, and in they cook they were cooking in their program, but I feel I'm eating and enjoying that. That presentation was very
Okay,
happy for me.
in general, do you prefer eating out or eating at home?
Uh, well, I told you about my mom. She's very health conscious for us. Would prefer to eat at home because that is very organic and hygienic for us. We can say it's a myth in our society. House-made foods are very healthy and yummy for and very uh, to that food is for us to keep us healthy. But when I'm with my friends and hang out for somewhere, we taste some fast food like pizza and pastas. But it's on weekends, not regular.
Okay, thank you very much. Now let's discuss about your performance.
Okay,
First of all, I would try to say some negatives.
okay,
In negative, your thinking procedure quite held sometimes, and you went blank
yes,
while thinking that what should I say. So meanwhile, your brain processor picked the word from the back and dragged that to the oral cavity to speak that particular word. Number one, we have to work on it.
okay,
We have to reduce the pauses because in this way your examiner in UK who is listening you, he will think that you are having difficulties in continuing the speech and developing the coherence.
yes,
Okay. The second problem was grammatical structures were very simple.
okay,
You have to develop the grammar and you were not using even would, could, should, has to, have to, being. Structure wasn't really available, but yes, there was a positive. Also, you used only one good structure, and that was actually don't want. Yes, it was good. Then there was a grammatical mistake. I was start, so it was wrong. Keep this in mind while speaking. That what tense are you speaking and what is your. You should think before you speak, and there should be the practice for yourself. And number one, I would like to say, and if I talk about the parameters to watch, the first parameter is pronunciation. Your pronunciation was good. Yes, I appreciate. The words were really clear. I would like to give you 7 bands on the pronunciation.
okay,
And in grammatical structures, there was no any good explanation of grammatical structures. So the simple grammar with only one fault can get 5 bands.
okay,
But if you talk about lexical resources, then I'm sorry, only few words were good, like prefer, organic, hygienic, and myth. And this was only spoken in the last question. And because of this, you get 6 in the lexical resources. In fluency and coherence, I will also think that you are really, your expressions were great. You were entangling the examiner and you were at a discussion level, which is very rare. People don't come on the discussion level. But by your talk, it was really obvious. So, but the fluency and coherence, you were having a thinking procedure. I would like to give you 6. But try to come over it. Let's move to the next section, and that is the part 2. For both of you guys, I'm going to give you the topic at the same time, and the topic is describe a house or the apartment. I'm going to give you the book that is over here. It is actually book 11, test 1. Describe a house or apartment that someone you know lives in. You should say whose house or apartment this is, where the house or apartment is, and what it looks like inside, and explain what you like or dislike about this person's house or apartment. Your hint making time starts now. Now stop writing, time's up. Now, Noah, will you please start speaking on the topic? Right now, please.
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity. The apartment which I am going to talk about is my colleague's apartment. He bought it last year for his family. Actually, his family is moving from Pakistan to Dubai there. And this apartment is situated in Dubai. It's right next to the Sheikh Zayed Road. It's actually 1 BHK. You can explain it as one bed with hall and a kitchen. It's a very well furnished and nice apartment. Every facility is already included in that apartment. The HVAC air conditioner is very nice. I checked it personally, it was working very well. The kitchen stove has a nice canopy above it, so all the extract and the smoke which is coming out of the kitchen stove, it's going outside after filtration, and the ambience is very nice as well there. He has a parking facility right next to that apartment as well, which he can use 24/7, because it's very difficult in UAE to get out from your office to your home, and you cannot find a parking and you have to wait for half to 1 hour there. So these all facilities makes it a very good place and very good apartment for him. I can say it was a nice purchase, and he will be definitely enjoying that in his future.
Okay, great. Now, analysis.
Well,
Yes,
sorry, I
please.
thought I have to.
Okay, if you have to speak, you can speak more.
Well, I like that apartment personally because, I have told you, all the facilities are already included. It's already furnished, so it means that you don't have to buy anything for your living there. Here it just has only a wife, so there will be no difficulty. He can just put his property there and it's ready to live anytime.
Okay, thank you very much. So, now the analysis. The flow was really great. You're amazing in flow, okay? You really perform in a good way. I appreciate your effort. And in fluency, I would like to give you in this section the 7 bands. And in lexical resources, again, you are very poor in lexical resources, not using good. I want to give you this time because the words were less beautiful, less important than the other one, and I give you 5 in lexical resources. And again, grammatical structures and range was very poor, and I will gonna give you the 5 in grammatical structure. In pronunciation, I'm gonna give you 6 again. So you can accommodate and get that what type of the bands should be there at the end, because I'm not gonna give you the final bands, but this is your right now the performance that you have to focus. Okay, now the topic is for you. Can you please explain the topic?
Okay, thank you for giving me the opportunity to describe my ideal house. That's my uncle's house, which is located in Barrier Town Society in Lahore, which is very well-known society. Here I will come to the topic. That house is very beautiful and vast and situated on one canal, and well structured, and it was very beautiful. It's very beautiful. I start with the main gate, which is very beautiful and constructed from Turkey, and it has a very beautiful lawn and planted with imported plants, and have a separate pool on the behind of the house. It's also have a separate pet house portion. It's 4 bed and 1 lounge house. It's very beautiful and well constructed and very ventilated, and its front is with decorated with the Spanish tiles. Uh, about inside of the house, it was designed with the interior designer, which is very well known in Lahore, and the walls are decorated with wallpaper. Here I want to discuss about the lounge. the main wall of the drawing room is decorated with the trophies, which are hunted by my uncle, and that's amazing place for me. It's a front view from a canal, and when we got up early in the morning, we can see the sun rising and birds are chirping on big trees. It's very eye-catching view for me. And here I want to discuss about the dislike this house, the pet portion. Uh, that is very smelly, and I don't like dogs. And there is a German Shepherd dog, and are some birds are there. Their smell is very uncomfortable for me. Therefore, I don't like that portion.
Okay, thank you. That's fine. Pronunciation was good. Okay, the words were clear, and grammatical range and accuracy was poor. There were two main mistakes. That when we got up and you was explaining one time in the past, actually you were explaining something in a good way. So it was on that location. It was on that time. It was not really very fit. So then you use the word vacancy in the wrong perspective. The word hunted was used with the wrong perspective, and you were showing many pauses over there. So fluency and coherence is also poor, but you can keep the flow of the speech in a good way. It is very nice. So the constructed from Turkey was the word, which was really very wrongly pronounced or adjusted. Imported from Turkey.
Imported from
Okay, got it. So the word well known was good, located was good. So overall performance was better, but actually lexical resources are less. I'll give you, because you were just uh, maintaining the speed and having some simple words, so you can get band 5 in lexical resources, band 5 in grammatical structure, and pronunciation 6. And in this time, the fluency was not as good as I was thinking in the last, so I would like to give you the 6 bands for that. Now I'll continue from you, the next lesson, and you have to answer first. This is the topic 3, the part 3, and the discussion topics. The topic is different types of home. What kinds of home are most popular in your country, and why is this?
What kinds of houses? Uh, in my country, the independent houses are very popular because in this era of life, everyone wants to be live comfortable with their children. So everyone in mostly, especially for cities, the mostly populated cities, people like to live in independent houses. But when we talk about the rural areas, uh, there are combined families live together, uncles and aunties, and they live in a very big houses. So it's very about with the area of the looking. It's very with the location.
So, what do you think are the advantages of living in a house rather than an apartment?
Yes, if you live in your house, you can do anything which you want. You can change the color of the house, and you can amendment in that any portion. When you are living in any apartment, you cannot do as much as changing you want. Especially the congested area for an apartment, you cannot take bath in sunset when the summer is when in winters, when the summer comes, you cannot feel the fresh air. But when you live in your independent house, you can take the bath. It's you if it's winter, you can take bath on your rooftop, and when it's summer, you can sit in your lawn. It's up to you.
Okay, what do you think that everyone would like to live in a larger home, and why is that?
Yes, it's a dream of everyone to live in a large house because everyone want a spacey houses. It's especially when you are living with your family, you try to live in your independent bedroom. So therefore, everyone wants a beautiful lawn in their house and car parking garage. So it's everyone's choice, I can say.
Okay. How easy is it to find a place to live in your country?
Uh, it's very easy. We can say it's totally depend on your pocket to live. Uh, Sorry, I can not understand your question properly.
Okay, how easy is it to find a place to live in your country?
It's totally depend on the area which you want to live. If you want to live in populated area, it's very difficult to find a space for living, and it's very costly for you. When you want to live in rural areas, that is very specific for everyone and easy to buy and live. You can easily buy and.
Okay, so do you think it is better to rent a house or to buy the place to live in, and why?
Yes, if you can afford, you can buy a house where you can live freely and according to your choice. When you don't have enough money, you can you can live on a rent, but it's very panic for you because when you want to change the color of the house, you can't because it's totally depend on the owner's choice. But in rather than you want to live in your home, you can paint, you can decorate, and each and everything you can easily.
Okay, now let's talk about the result.
Okay.
You
Yes.
used the same category of the words. Those were actually the B1 level words, or some one were good. Okay, so independent house was a good word. I like it. And the children's, you have spoke the word children's, which is very wrong. It is negative. Rural areas were a good word, and congested was good. Blanked, lot. So you got blanked most of the time when you speak English. You
Yes.
go some way. I don't know where you go, but you were quite logical also, and you create logics. So everyone what was a wrong word. Grammatical structures are poor in grammar way. Everyone want you said, and everyone you should say wants. Right? So the next negative was depend on pocket. This was the word that you have spoken. This phrase depend on pocket depends on budget
Okay.
rather than the pockets. So this the meaning is underneath. Don't use the word with having the underneath meaning. Speak the words or the meaning which are obvious. Then you spoke the wrong phrase. Very panic for you. It is very panic for you. No, it creates panic for you.
Okay. Yes.
Don't use panic as a verb. It creates panic for you. So the same is the case. I have told you already that fluency were the same, 6, and then 5, 5, and pronunciation was also the 6. So you stay over here. Try to improve it in a good way. Okay.
Okay.
So now let's talk to you, Mr. Naman. How are you?
I'm fine.
So now the part 3, different types of homes. What kinds of home are most popular in your country?
Well, in my country, people usually prefer their villas or their own homes, like they are independently living. They have their parking inside their house. They can afford a villa inside the house or some other facilities. But the trend is now quite switching. People are moving from that villas to the community-based blocks or apartments where everything is provided from the community, but the privacy there is a concern because you cannot keep your privacy intact there. The parking is outside your house. You have to keep your things or like well managed. When you are going to the office, you have to keep everything in your hand so you can move it to your vehicle or your car. But there are perks of living the apartments as well, because everything there is well managed, well structured, and the facilities provided over there are like very well managed for the people living there. The HVAC system is very nice, the ventilation is good over there. So the people are gonna move from these independent houses to the apartments in near future.
What do you think are the advantages of living in a house rather than an apartment?
Well, when you are living in your own house, as I told you, like you can enjoy the facilities on your own. You are totally independent. You can repair whenever you want. You can switch the rooms, or you can change the color schemes as well. But when you are in the apartment, you have to take some sort of permissions from the community before doing any work, and you have to inform your neighbors or the person who is living on your above floor that you are going to repair something inside your house. So sometimes it's painful because it's your property and you can do whatever you want inside your home, but you have to take permission from others for doing that things. So I prefer living in a house instead of an apartment.
Okay, do you think that everyone would like to live in a larger home, and why is that?
Well, definitely, but the trend, as I have told you, the trend is quite switching now, because in houses you cannot afford in the urban areas. The place is really limited. For more and more people are moving towards the cities, and the place is becoming short for the people to live here and to afford a very large home. But when you are living in a large home, you have all the facilities available in your own area, instead of going to some community shared areas where like in our culture the privacy is the first concern over that type of facility, so people usually avoid going to that community based facilities.
Okay, so do you think that everyone, okay, so how easy is it to find a place to live in your country?
Well, it's the era of digitalization. Everything is available over the internet. You can just go and find an apartment or house. What type of apartment you want, you can put it over there, and in a very short time, there are people calling you on the phone. They have some sort of area available for you to rent, or you can buy it as well. And Airbnb is also introduced in our society now. People are asking for paying guests as well. So if you cannot afford your own home, you can live there as a guest as well.
Do you think that it is better to rent or to buy a place to live in, and why?
Well, I think it's better to rent a place over buying it, because in that way you are putting your capital at hold there. You cannot use it for your future projects or anything else. The money is stuck there. You have to either sell it to someone else, or you have to rent it out. So it means that you are living, if you are living on a rented place, you have a free capital to invest somewhere in your other projects.
Do you agree that there is a right age for young adults to stop living with their parents, and why is that?
Well, definitely, I think when someone got married, he has to move outside. By getting married, I mean that when he is 20 or 22 years old, because in our society, most of the people get married at that age. So when you are married, you have to move outside of your parents' house to start your life independently, because if you are living with your parents, you have less opportunities to like experience the environment, the society, and the situations where you are totally dependent on your parents and family. Sometimes it's about food, or it's about the decisions you are making in your very personal life.
Okay. Now, thank you very much. That is the end of the test. But right now, the performance time. Okay, let's discuss your performance. Yes. I have found most positivities in you right now in the part 3. Most of the time it happens that in part 3 the students get lower than the previous one. Yes. Now if I find out the parameters, the fluency and coherence was good and amazing. You are quite fluent in ideas, and you are knitting the ideas together, and fabrication of structures were great. I would like to give you 8 bands in fluency and coherence section. Now, lexical resources are weak, actually. You're not using the words of the C1 level or the C2 level. You should try to use the words, to speak the words of the caliber of the C1 and C2. Then you will be able to handle the situation in upper level. I would like to give you the 6 bands in lexical resources. Goods were good. For example, you said the word digitalization, facility, structure, community, and the beautiful word that you have used in a very nice way, that was a switching community. I love that. And villas, you explained a very, very technical or the topic related word because it gives you good marks. The villas were really good. I love it. Grammatical structures were also again very simple.
Yes.
I haven't found that you were using being, could, would, should, has to, have to, must not. It should also be added in that. So pronunciation was quite muffling. You were in a very good speed. The speed was faster. So pronunciation suffered right now. And you can get 6.5 in pronunciation now. So try to handle yourself in a good way. So do you think it was a good session for you?
Yes, sir. Definitely, it was helpful for me.
Okay, so thank you very much. May Allah bless you.
Thank you.
Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum. That is that.